This is Back to Back.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Willy Joy. Welcome to the show. This is Back to Back. This is my podcast. You're listening to it. All my back-to-backers out there. How you doing? How you feeling? I hope you're feeling a little better than me. I've been just dragging ass all day. Had a late one last night. Met up with a former guest on the show and an old friend of mine, LS Dream. He was playing a show in town. I went out there. Usually when I go see a friend play a show, I'll kind of pull the whatever you call it, the Irish exit, and just, duck out silently before the end of the night somewhere in there. I didn't do that last night. It was a late one. We're in the middle of a heat wave right now. If you're on the East Coast, I know you feel my pain. And the AC in the club, I don't know if it was broken or if it just wasn't strong enough. But we were pretty much just all disgusting by the end of it. So today has basically just been, trying to put my life back together. But I'm really excited to tell you about today's show. I've got Graves on the show. He's been super requested. I've gotten so many people asking me to get him on the show. I've wanted to have him on for a long time. He lives in Hawaii, though, so it makes scheduling a little tough, but we finally met up. He came over to my place. We sat down. We chopped it up. I love this dude. Graves just dropped a new 2-song EP. The songs are Dead Song and Transmissions. If you listen to me on Sirius XM, the back-to-back radio show, which is on every Wednesday night, Friday morning on Channel 52, you'll hear me play Dead Song in there. Crazy record. It's out on Welcome Records, which is Keizo's label. Shout out to Keizo. And earlier this year, Graves dropped the Far From Here EP, which I kind of look at that as like his new calling card. Such a good collection of songs. And look, he's just a super talented person. Pretty much every DJ is checking for everything he's doing. Just one of those guys who's always raising the bar. I'm going to put a link in the description of this episode where you can follow him, get all the music, tour dates, all of that. And we're going to get into our chat in just a minute. Back to Back is brought to you today by Serato. And listen, over at Serato, they're always raising the bar too. They just dropped a brand new piece of software called Serato Studio. I've been loving this. I've been playing with it for a while. If you're a new producer or somebody just looking to get in on the game, this is the software for you. You got to check it out. The whole point of it is placing creativity at the heart of music making, so you can spend more time just having fun, making music, and less time hitting technical roadblocks. Serato Studio uses a DJ-friendly workflow, which includes access to your entire Serato DJ library if you're already using that to DJ. In addition, it's got a ton of features for advanced producers too. You get the master key change function to transpose your entire project key with just one click. There's automation and plugin support, as well as stem exporting, so you can use this in conjunction with whatever DAW you're comfortable in. Tons of other features, lots of free samples, including instruments, loops, drums, effects, and right now there's a free 14-day trial. So go check it out right now over at serato.com/studio. That's www.serato.com/studio. And if anybody out there's been playing with it, or even if there's, something else or even if there's just something else new you're really excited about, let me know. I always love hearing what you're up to. And it doesn't have to be music. Just let me know what's going on with your life. If you got questions, concerns, comments, thoughts, you can always check in with me. backtobackpod@gmail.com is the email address, or you can hit me up at Willy Joy or at backtobackpod. And if you want to support the show, there's a great free way to do it. All you got to do is just put up something letting people know you're listening. Make sure to tag me, tag the show. And this is dual purpose, because not only are you helping support this show, helping me keep pumping out awesome episodes every week for free for everybody out there, there. But also, then I get to know you. We can interact, we can connect. All the back-to-backers out there, it's such a cool community. It's been great meeting everybody out there who's listening and checking in over the run of the show. So come on in, join us, hit me up, and let's get into today's episode with Graves. So like I said, Graves was in DC. We hung out at the studio and, man, just chopped it up. We've been talking online for years and we just never ran into each other. So it felt like I kind of already knew him, but it also felt like I was talking to a totally new person. I kind of like that new energy. And Graves is just an intriguing figure to me because not only is he, just a great producer, he's got a crazy history. He worked with Kanye out in Hawaii for years and years. There's so many just crazy stories from that. We get into a bunch of those. And like I said, he's doing it all out of Hawaii. There's not a ton of, really well-known music producers out there. And we talk about what that's like. You're going to hear, usually, you might have heard my cat once or twice before in these conversations. I don't know why. My cat was losing his mind during this conversation, just really yelling his head off, especially in the first 10 minutes. So you're going to hear that. That's just a fact of life, man. That's something I hear every single day. So you can just picture me in the studio trying to work on music with my studio assistant yelling at me the whole time. That's basically my life. And yeah, let's get into it. Huge talent, a deep guy, a little dark, super interesting, and I'm excited to share it with you. So check it out. This is me and Graves back to back. Let's go. Because you just did, earlier this year was your first headlining tour, right?
Yeah, it was my first one. Yeah, it was great. Sold out the whole tour. It was good.
That must feel good, man.
It was cool. It was good.
Did it change anything? Did it feel different to you to know that, because I being support versus being the main performer, at least to me, it feels differently when I get on stage,
For sure.
I almost approach it differently a little bit.
It's definitely, two different sides of the die.
Well, for you, how did you change your approach, or did you change your approach for a headlining tour?
Well, for my own headline tour, it's primarily my music. First of all, it's mostly my records, especially it was my first hard ticket run, which people who don't know what that is, it's you have hard ticket shows and you have soft ticket shows. Soft ticket shows is
built-in audience,
and hard ticket shows is everyone there is literally just there for you.
Right. The club wouldn't be open unless you were there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it was my first hard ticket run and we did great. I'm stoked.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I feel like your run in the last couple of years, you seem very collaborative. You work with a lot of people. And I know you kind of come from a background where you were working with all types of artists. And to sort of step out and be the headliner, the front man, right? That's gotta feel good after a long time of sort of, just being in the mix, working, helping other people realize their visions.
Yeah.
And now being able to kind of do it for yourself,
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
It's all the same to me.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of, I just work on records all day.
Yeah.
Tour all weekend.
Do you care if the records you're working on are yours or somebody else's? Or?
I as long as they're records I want to work on, I'm usually stoked on whatever it is, Because I do a lot of production for artists as well, just production type stuff.
Yeah.
Write music and write the beats and stuff like that. So as long as it's with an artist that I can vibe with and it's moving forward, and they can communicate properly. I think communicating is a big one,
Yeah.
As long as as the other artists that you're working with can communicate, it makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, that's such a funny thing that I think maybe it gets glossed over when people think about artists collaborating in the studio, right? Because, anytime, somebody posts an Instagram picture, hey, I'm in the studio with X artist, and, people go, oh my God, they're in the studio together. It's I always look at that and think like, well, there's like, 50% chance that went well.
Yeah, for sure. Chances of the record coming out is slim to none. It's like
right.
Unless it's just for clout. Then
Well,
it's like,
sure, which it might be, but
yeah.
but it is a funny thing. Like, do you have any specific methods you have learned over the years to try to connect with people in the studio to like get a good workflow going?
I don't know. I kind of like to just give a lot of options when I'm working. Like as me as a collaborator, I like to just provide a ton of different like music options, like a bunch of different chord progressions that work, a bunch of different sound design options that fit.
So do you show up prepared? Like you have stuff ready to go?
No. I don't have anything prepared. It's just giving them options though, like, or if So if I'm in the studio with them, I try to I'll take like an hour and I'll just like map out like 5 or 6 ideas in the same key, like that works with whatever melody they provide for me. And I try to just give them a lot of options. That way, it's like if you what I see is like when producers just work on like 1 or maybe 2 options, it's like that can end in that can like kill a session super quick because
if you run out of ideas.
Exactly.
Right?
So that's why it's like you should provide as many as you can in the beginning. That way and then the more ideas you do in the beginning, the more you have to dig through later.
Right.
So you can take this section, like this one section to be the bridge. You can take this one section and make it a pre-hook,
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it too, because I think, at least personally, when I started producing music, like I would get so precious about my ideas and be like, no, this is the one thing and it has to be this. And like you just said, if that doesn't end up working out, you're kind of fucked unless there's, another idea to follow it up.
Exactly.
And it's interesting to think about like the way a song becomes a song is that it's not always one idea, right? Like
For
sometimes
sure,
it's this weird like Frankenstein of ideas.
Exactly. Especially nowadays, after the Kanye stuff, the Travis Scott stuff, there's so many parts to beats now where it's like you can take stuff that's like not even really in the same key and like kind of just make it into, a part of the song.
Yeah, 100%.
So.
I mean, take like huge stuff like Sicko Mode or something. I mean,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
Like 2 totally different songs.
There's a bunch of songs. There's probably like 3 songs in that one record.
And you, I know, have a fair amount of experience working with that whole camp.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to get into that, but let's put a pin in that for a second and take it even further back. Before we started recording, we were talking about, where we've lived, bouncing around, and you said you were born in Hawaii, never going to leave Hawaii.
Born, raised, yeah, I love Hawaii. It's super chill.
What part were you born in?
Just in Honolulu. So Oahu, the island I'm on, it's a pretty small island. I believe it's like 25 miles by 25 miles. It's tiny. But there's about I think there's about 1 million people living on the damn island. It's a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, I've been there 3 or 4 times, and I mean, it feels very vibrant. Like, I don't know what people's perception who have never been there is, but I mean, it feels like a vibrant city. Yeah,
but I like it there. It's super chill. It's home. All my family's there, so
yeah,
that's what I do.
Well, and this is again something we were just touching on before I hit record, but there is and I'm sure you've gotten this, especially as your career started to blow up. There's always this pressure of leave wherever you're from, come to LA. You have to be here. You're missing out. Did anyone put that pressure on you? Or did you ever feel that pressure?
Yeah, everyone always asked me that. Everyone always,
Yeah.
LA is so good for songwriting sessions. It's really good for that type of shit. You get in there, everyone's around, songwriters, artists are all there. So I get it. I understand why it's people think it's important, and it is important, and I do go to LA a lot to work. But for me, LA isn't my home.
Yeah.
And it never will be my home. My home is in Hawaii. So that's the second I step off the plane and I get into my Uber and I get home, I'm home. I'll never get that feeling pretty much anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
And for me, that's important to feel at home,
Of course, man. Yeah, and I could see that being even stronger with a place like Hawaii, because Hawaii has such a strong identity and such a strong vibe,
Yeah. Hawaii is very unique for sure. Very family oriented, very laid back. People are very laid back in Hawaii. Like, they have that. That's why they say, like, I'm on Hawaiian time. That's like, you're kind of just late. You know, no one really gives a fuck in Hawaii. You kind of just... And then in the same breath of air, though, it's like, because no one really gives a fuck, because it's so laid back, you don't really find any artists out there. You don't see anyone pushing art forward. Really, there's a couple of people out there, you know, like... who are my friends that out there? Like Mr. Han from Linkin Park is out there.
Okay.
The bass player from All Time Low is out there.
Oh, shit, okay.
Yeah. Carmack is from out there.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, everyone...
That's interesting, man.
Yeah, everyone has their own path in life to take, and mine was staying in Hawaii and just flying to LA every week. But.
Absolutely. I mean, it's funny to hear you talk about... you know, there's not a lot of artists, not a lot of people pushing things forward. Was that hard for you coming up? Like, being the artist you were, like, did you ever feel like, oh, I wish there was more happening here? Did you feel like it's too quiet, or like it's not moving fast enough?
No, I like, just like all of us nowadays, like, we all live in our computers.
Yeah.
You know, we live in the fucking simulation. It's like, it's literally like, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, because we all connect through the internet, you know? It's like, it's just, you know, we all hop, you know, we do our things in real life, and then we hop online. We go sit on our computers and work on music, and we're on fucking Twitter and whatever. And we're just connected through there, you know? And I feel like being connected on the internet is just as good as, like, I feel like we all live in the same place nowadays. You know?
I agree,
like,
man.
I don't even feel like there's like a separation anymore between like anywhere with the internet. It's like we all kind of live in the same place, and it's like a fucking plane ride is like 5 hours from anything.
Yeah, no, it's true. And it's funny I've never heard it put that way, but that's so true, because it's really like, you know, if I go to whatever Twitter DM group I'm in, that really does just feel like walking into my buddy's house.
For sure.
What did your folks do? Like, why were you in Hawaii? Why were you there?
I don't know. They're just there. They were born and raised out there as well. It's kind of like a... So your family's been there for generations? Yeah, family's been there. Yeah. Hawaii is just... People in Hawaii who are like, their moms and dads are from Hawaii. They kind of... Everyone stays in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Hardly ever do you see people venture off and kind of leave. And if they do leave, they just go to fucking Las Vegas. So Las Vegas is like... considered the 9th island.
Is that right?
The 9th, or did I fuck up and say 9th when there's 8, 9? Fuck me.
You should know better than me.
Oh, God. I'm going to be roasted on the internet for that one. But so everyone in Hawaii pretty much moves to... There's only one place we go. We go to Las Vegas.
Okay.
It's a thing.
Why? Why Vegas?
I don't fucking know. But as a kid, growing up in Hawaii, all your family vacations are to Las Vegas.
Interesting.
Probably so the adults can gamble.
Right.
And the kids just fuck around and do whatever.
Well, Vegas is not that fun for a kid, I feel like.
I think there are things though, because like they used to take us to like the M&M factory.
Okay.
And there used to be a fucking marshmallow factory that blew up.
Shit.
Dude, that shit blew up. Like it literally like exploded.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I wonder, that's like out of Ghostbusters, man. That's
No, and they kind of look like the Ghostbusters marshmallows too.
Really?
But it was so cool. You could go through the factory and then they would give you you could taste all the marshmallows in the end.
Dude, I would do that today.
It was so sick. I remember being a kid just being blown away like, holy fuck, they make marshmallows. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So that's like what you do as a kid. Like on vacation, you go to fucking Las Vegas.
Right. That's so funny.
It's weird. And
so that
funny.
Was like your childhood was like if you went on vacation, that's
you go to Las
went.
Vegas. Yeah, that's like kind of it's like a thing. Everyone from Hawaii does it. I have no idea how or why it got started, but it's a Hawaii thing.
Wow.
So that's where everyone moves to. Like when people are like, I'm leaving Hawaii, you move to Las Vegas.
Wow.
That's it. Like people don't go anywhere else.
I think about that sometimes because I have friends who live in Vegas full time. I cannot imagine living in Vegas full time, man.
It's crazy. I actually lived there for a little bit because just like what I was saying, my grandma and grandpa moved there for a little bit. So I was out there in North Las Vegas. It's a fucking crazy place.
How old were you when you were living out there?
Like right after high school. So yeah, I would kind of just helping out with my grandma and grandpa. My grandma got sick, so just out there like helping out with stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so I was just out there kind of helping, but
That must have been strange, man.
Yeah, Vegas is a crazy place. It's like a lot of just crazy shit goes on there. It's like everywhere you look, and like you turn on the news, and it's like all these people getting fucking shot, or like it's just like it's just crazy things like people in cars, just like driving by and like running each other off the roads. It's just like they're every night was like a new crazy story in Las Vegas. Yeah,
well, because it's like a fake place, right? Like it's this man-made city in the desert that
exactly.
it shouldn't be there.
It shouldn't be there, and that was my main thing when I was telling my grandma and grandpa that I was like, okay, so say something happens with our natural resources, or like chaos just ensues and there's no shipping, no one's importing, exporting anything.
Yeah.
How the fuck are you guys gonna get water out there in the middle of the desert? Like that's the first thing, like once the water gets shut off and there's no importing of water, you guys are so fucked.
Yeah.
So I was telling them like, you guys should go somewhere where life is sustainable with or without
right, where nature
humans.
Intended people
exactly.
to live.
So I was just trying to explain that to them. They didn't listen to me.
Yeah, of course. There's a book. I'm like a sci-fi nerd, and I read a bunch of that shit. There's a book called The Water Knife that's literally about that exact scenario. It's this like basically in the future. Cities are like corporations basically, and they're all fighting over water rights. And it's the main conflict in this book is Vegas and I think like Phoenix, basically.
Okay,
like
that
having
makes
a
sense.
war over water.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Vegas would win.
Yeah, they probably
Vegas
would.
has so much money.
Oh my God, dude.
And they got Drake.
Yeah.
And they got the Marshmallow residency.
Yeah,
they got the Chainsmoker residency.
I was going to say, you don't even need the factory anymore. You just got the residency.
Dude,
now.
You got the residencies. Like all the water is going to go to Marshmallow to make
it just pumps through his helmet.
Yeah, he's got that water cooler, the intercooler system built in.
His head is a water cooler. I never thought about it.
Is it really?
I mean, let's just say it is.
Oh.
No.
I thought you meant like it's cooled like with like...
That would be funny.
You know how they have the computers with the water cooling system?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I wonder if they do that for his helmet, because it must get hot as fuck in there,
I wonder
right?
about that.
Yeah.
I think about like Deadmau5 and all of them. Like that shit...
Deadmau5 is definitely not, because he always just like takes it off when he's too hot. He's
That's
like, fuck
true,
this.
too, yeah.
He just takes it off.
But those things like, they got circuitry built in. It's got to be heavy. Like, I wonder, it's like I could never have Marshmallow on this show because they won't like talk about who he actually is, even though we all know. But I would love to talk about just the mechanics of it. Like, what do you like? Do you have to do like neck exercises? Like, do your shoulders get tired?
Yeah.
It's got to be so weird.
It's got to be weird. But it's fucking awesome. He's making more money than fucking everybody.
Oh, he's murdering the game.
He's the man.
Oh, and he's a great guy. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, it's brilliant also because he's super fucking famous, and also no one knows, like he can walk around and do whatever he wants without people bothering him.
That's pretty tight.
Yeah.
Someone just told me that they're like trying to sell that shit to Disney right now.
Ooh, that would not surprise me.
That would be fucking crazy, right? Like someone was telling me some shit like, oh, they're gonna turn it into like fucking like Miley Cyrus. Like, or like where it's like a cartoon where Marshmallow grows up with the fucking kids.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? Like where they start him off as like a kid and they work him into an adult, on like what is it, Hannah Montana
Hannah
type
Montana
shit?
turns into Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, and if they own, it's not like Miley Cyrus either, where they can't own Miley Cyrus now. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like they're gonna own that shit forever,
dude.
Which would be insane.
That would be unbelievable. But I could honestly see it because they already,
for sure.
Like he does kid stuff,
Yep.
and I mean he has like little kid fans.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it does, man.
And it's like the vibe of the whole Marshmallow project is like positivity, and it's like that's something like I really fuck with, you know, because I'm such a fucking shitty negative human. It's like the counterbalance. It's, you know, it's the yin and the yang. Like I love positive shit because it's like I'm such a not positive person, you know, like I'm such a downer and shit. So like I love Marshmallow. I love that type of shit.
But it's
you
cool
know?
You can have that perspective instead of just being like, oh, that's stupid, you know.
Yeah, I see so many people that are like that are just so negative towards the Marshmallow shit, and I'm just like, why? It's like spreading positivity, which you can't fucking do yourself, you dumbass. You know, so it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
people
I know exactly
should be happy.
Yeah, man.
It's like fuck, happiness is like
it's what we're all trying
not a
to
bad
get
thing.
to.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like this dude makes these kids happy and he makes these people happy. It's like, why the fuck do you care?
I completely agree, man. And the fact that it's like, to me, it's just inspiring. It's like somebody from our world, the boy done good. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
for sure. He's been the homie forever, and it's like fucking A.
Well, yeah, and it's
man.
an example. Like, it's like, all right, well, if you don't like the way he did it, then you go do it your way.
For sure,
but, like,
1000%.
Stop paying attention to him.
Yeah.
So if you're a shitty negative person, have you always been that way? Like, what kind of a kid were you growing up?
Yeah,
and why?
I was just a shitty negative person my whole life, pretty much. You know, it's like, you know, I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's like, I just grew up as a sad kid.
Yeah.
I was always sad, and it just fucking continued. And it's just like, it would probably just go forever. You know, to be completely honest. I mean, it's like,
well, I mean,
if it hasn't changed.
it seems like you've worked it into your art, right?
I mean, it's just like who I am, you know?
Yeah.
It just is what it is. And it's like,
But I guess what I'm saying is it seems like from an outsider's perspective that you've managed to sort of find a peace with it, right? Or at least like not let it bring you down. You know, if you're like,
so.
You know, if you're prone to, and I'm not saying you are, but if you like, for me, like I get anxious, you know, and that if you're prone to depression, that kind of thing, there's, I
feel like we all are, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But if you're able to sort of take those feelings and then like, you know, stare them in the face, sit with them, whatever it is, and actually make something with them. Like, I feel like a lot of your, not even just your music, but like the artwork and like the whole vibe of it, it is sort of like it's a darker aesthetic.
Yeah.
And I to me, that's cool that you're able to sort of say, this is a piece of me, you know, put it on display. I don't know if that helps you deal with it. But.
No, I mean, nothing helps me deal with anything, to be completely honest. You know, I mean, I don't even think artists even feel that way. I mean, truly, like, what artist is out there like making art? Like, I make this art to fucking deal with you know what I mean? Like, there's no fucking way
oh man, I love that you said that, because I wonder that.
I hate that. I hate when people say that. That shit to me is cheesy as fuck. And at least Marshmallow isn't saying that type of shit. You know what I mean? Like, at least he isn't out there like, yo, I made this fucking dark, sad record because it's fucking helping me deal with my life. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, you're making the record because you want to make the record, you know? Like, I don't know. To me, it's just like, maybe I'm just a fucking asshole.
No, man, I'm really glad we're talking about this, because this is something I've thought about sometimes, but I feel like it's something we don't really ever talk about. Is I feel the same way. Like, to me, like, making a piece of music doesn't necessarily help me deal with a problem.
For sure. It's just the music is just a reflection of your life.
Right.
Almost, you know what I mean? It's a reflection of you. It's not dealing with it, you know? It's just like...
Well, I think the only thing I can say is sometimes, like, if I'm feeling anxious or a bunch of like just negative energy, I can sometimes force myself to sit down and work, and like through that work, I don't know if it's distracting myself or if it's just like getting rid of that energy, but I like, if I can sit down, finish a song or something, I'll feel better at the end of it. And
the gratification of finishing a record.
Sure. So maybe, and I don't know, like, I guess that would be a way that making music would help me deal with whatever. But I agree with you that it's not like a direct, like, I will solve this problem by putting my feelings into a song. But then there are people who say that they literally do that.
You know what I just realized though, as I said that, I might be fucking wrong. You know, it's like, because like you think about people feel like therapy helps them, and I'm like, therapy would never help me. I'd be like, that shit's cheesy. You know, I'd be like, that shit doesn't work for me. And like for me, it's like I was like, just going back on everything we were just saying, like I grew up as like kind of a negative person. It's just like, that's probably just my own personal outlook, and that shouldn't be anyone else's outlook.
True.
Because I'm a dumbass, you know, so fuck it.
I mean, we all are, man. That's
I don't want to make anyone like listening to this be like, fuck, I should hate everything because Christian said so. You know, but that's how I am. Don't be like me.
Yeah, this is just a PSA.
Go be like Marshmallow. He's fucking stoked. He's got 80 million in the bank right now. Like, he's fucking stoked.
Yeah, I think he's pretty happy with himself.
Yeah.
I would be too.
I don't think 80 million would make me happy though. I don't think I could ever I don't think money would make me happy.
Is there something you think of where you're like, if my life was this way, or if I had these things?
I feel like I always thought like that growing up, you know, like if I had this, if I did this, you know, like it would make me happy. But I've kind of obtained almost everything that I was searching for. And
yeah,
I'm still standing here telling you I'm not happy.
I mean,
so it's
does making music make you happy?
I mean, yeah, in the moment, you know, when that's my favorite times, you know, to be at home in my condo working on fucking records, you know, it's like, that's what I love doing, and that's what makes me the happiest. It's just like, or that fucking 1 hour on stage playing the show, you know, like that shit makes me happy. But the fucking 30 hours prior to and after the show is like not anything I ever want to do.
Yeah. Well,
you know?
I mean, all the shit that goes along with it, the travel obviously is garbage, but
yeah,
but I think there's something to it also that, you know, we're like adrenaline junkies for that shit too. Like that hour on stage for me is like, that's the best feeling I've ever had in my life. But then when I get off stage, you crash, right?
No, I mean, I'm good for a little bit, but it's just like, you know, it's like you have to train yourself to calm down and get some rest, you know, like that was hard, you know, when I first started touring, was to like turn it off, you know, like turn off the fucking rage mode, you know, like, you know, turn it off so you can get some fucking rest so you're not completely drained the next day. You know, you have to wake up at 5:30 a.m. to get on that 6:30 flight and, you know, fly fucking 4 hours to the next city to do the same shit all over again, you know? So it's like, it's all of that, you know?
Yeah, man. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm this way. I get the sense you might be this way. I'm an introverted person. Like I like to bring the party. I like to be on stage and like connect with the crowd, but I'm not trying to just like hang out at every single after party and like meet every single person. You know, for me, that takes energy to like be in a room with 100 people and like feel like I have to talk to everybody.
For sure.
And so that part of it, after a while, I realized was wearing me down too.
It's draining, you know, especially like, I mean, I like meeting everyone at the shows. Like I'll meet every single kid at the show, but like I probably won't be at an after party just because I know like that shit's draining, you know? You're going to be there, you're going to have a couple of drinks, you're going to fucking chill, you know? So it's like, and it's just time away from you sleeping, you know?
Right.
And it's like, we're always traveling, always on the go, always working, you know? So we need our sleep.
Oh, dude, yeah.
You know, so
that is a huge key. And yeah, I love meeting people who come to the shows, all of that. That's not
You're
hard
just talking about
me.
the after party section.
The after party, and even just like, you know, people who work at the clubs and, you know, there's almost this like business part of it where you have to sort of make friends with everybody and maintain these relationships.
Yeah, for sure.
And I like doing it, but it is
to a certain extent.
But it takes energy.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. It does. Everything takes energy.
Can you work on the road?
I can't anymore.
Really?
I used to be able to work on the road and I stopped.
What happened? What changed?
I just didn't feel inspired to work on the road. And I feel like a lot of people aren't that inspired because it's like you're tired, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, unless you have like a nice like night's rest and a fresh start, it's like, I'm not inspired to write.
Yeah.
It's kind of a drain. It's to me, it's like a drain. Unless I'm in the studio with other artists and the energy is like there to like drive you to like finish records. If I'm by myself, there's probably a little chance that I'm working on the road.
Yeah. You'd like the studio setting, your own surroundings.
Yeah, just like I'm going to work under my own circumstances, especially if it's like your art, you know, you got to, you know, kind of be mindful of that. You know, you don't want to like be putting shitty energy into your art. You know?
That's true, man. I mean, yeah, it's well worth saying that, you know, if you feel like you're at 50%, then what is the music going to sound like?
For sure, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, you're not going to get your most inspiring ideas like through that anyway. You know, you're probably going to be making like, you know, uninspired things.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if anything, I think this is just a really good argument for artists to take better care of themselves in general, whether you work on the road or not, you know? Because I think it's so easy. And I'm sure you're starting to experience this too. I mean, I feel like right now you're probably getting busier and busier, like more show offers, more people wanting to work with you. Have you found a balance of like, I need to dedicate, you know, X percentage of time to just writing?
I've kind of figured it out, you know, because like I'll be on the road like for 6 weeks straight, you know, where I'm like flying fucking like 4 days a week. And then, and after that, I'm just fucking burnt, you know, so I'll need like a day or so to like literally just sit on my couch and not do shit because I don't want to do shit. And, you know, it's like, and you just sit there and your fucking brain is still spinning. And it's like, I'm under this thing now where I'm like permanently jet lagged.
Right.
It's such a fuck thing. It's like,
well, that's one of the things coming from Hawaii. Like,
oh yeah, it's probably a Hawaii thing more than like anyone else would probably ever experience, unless you live in like the Middle East or Europe and you have to fly to the States all the time. But I'm literally in Hawaii flying to everywhere, like wherever I'm at every week, you know? So Wednesday or Thursday I'm out. I'm in usually a different city Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then I fly back home on Sunday.
Right.
And it's just a fucking cycle that never ends. So I'm going to break that in like 2 weeks.
What do you mean?
Like I'm going to be home for a couple weeks.
Oh, well, that's
just
good.
Like home writing and taking care of like, you know, myself.
Yeah,
because you can't do that shit, you know, when you're on the road and you're like out on the road for X amount of days, you know, you have 1 or 2 days home. It's like you can't really take care of yourself. The 1 or 2 days home is to like take care of the chores at the house, you know, like do your laundry. You gotta fucking, you know, I have a roommate and I hope he doesn't listen to this, but he's fucking leaves so much dishes and I fucking come home every week and I wash all the dishes.
That would
you know?
drive me crazy.
And yeah, and I'm home and I do the dishes and it's like fucking, I just like to clean. I like to have a clean
I'm the same
place.
way. Oh, dude. Like, dirty dishes in the sink, like stuff in the dryer, like all that bothers me, you know?
I'll hit you to be roommates with you next time, man.
Yeah, buddy.
We'll have a clean place.
We got 2 bedrooms here, man. You're welcome anytime. But no, I'm the same way. And it's, if you, like you said, if you only have a couple days, you come home, the one day is just like, you can barely even unpack before you got to pack it up again, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not enough time to feel like, you know, you have any time to relax. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, and for you, like coming from Hawaii, and I can tell like you've got roots there. That is your home. That's your community. And you probably still got like friends from childhood there, right?
I do. I don't really see anyone though.
Yeah.
I don't really talk to anyone.
Like just at all.
Like kind of at all. Yeah. I talk to my mom.
Yeah.
And my manager. I think that's about it. That's
Fair
like
enough.
the extent of my communication.
Yell at your roommate a little bit.
Oh yeah. I'm my roommate. I like hanging out with him. He's a good dude. I've known him forever. Yeah.
That's valuable, man, even if he is slobby.
He's not slobby. He just leaves the dishes for me, that fucker. But I love that dude.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, if you're sort of, you know, disconnected, if it's like you're living a different part of your life now, what was your life like leading up to the music career? So say you're like a teenager in Hawaii.
Yeah, I just like played in bands. Like I played in like indie bands and like punk bands and hardcore bands. Like rock music is where I came from. It's who I still am. It's where I'll always be. That's like what I am, you know? It's like I skated, like that's all I did was I skateboarded and I fucking played in punk bands. Like that was my fucking whole like, you know.
That was your identity.
That was me, you know. It's like, that's what I still want to do, you know. Like I just want to go, like that's what I want to do. I want to tour with a band and shit, you know. And I was with a band for a minute. We're on Rise Records. It was, the band's name was Palisades. And yeah, they're doing so well now. And it's just like, they're always touring, but it's, it's not easy, touring with
band life is different.
Band life is, dude, we tour out of a Sprinter, we live out of a fucking, like, the Palisades, dude. They lived out of a Sprinter, it's like, it's not easy. A Sprinter and a fucking trailer, that carry their amps and stuff. But it's like, it's like, we take DJ shit for granted sometimes because it's like, we show up with a fucking USB stick.
Dude.
You don't have to split your pay with anyone.
It's
you know what I mean? It's
crazy.
like, the managers and the agents and the fucking whoever's take their cut. But it's like, when you're in a band, the managers and the agents take their cut, then you divide it by 5 or 6. It's just like, you're fucked. It's like, how do you make it's so hard to make ends meet in a band, so all the bands, I really give it up for them because they're just like,
they're the troopers,
They're the troopers, until you really fucking make it, you're broke as fuck, and living a very frugal, like, not easy life, like living out of a Sprinter, like I'm sure a lot of bands are doing that, like living out of the damn Sprinter, like just touring, Oh,
100%. And I mean, I was in bands as a kid. They were never successful, but even just you have to organize 5 people's lives, right?
For sure.
Like you have to come to this consensus. It's so much work just to get everybody on the same page. To show up at the same time.
Yeah.
Like all the little stuff, man.
That's why bands are so special to me. It's like,
what did you play?
I play like I'm not good at anything. I play everything, but I'm not good at any. You know what I mean? I'm not like, fuck, I'm so good at playing drums or so good at playing guitar. It's like, I can play everything the right song.
Okay.
So in the band Palisades, I was kind of like the producer, and I was kind of, I was pretty much just like producing everything. So I was just kind of like writing the ideas, like the main melodies and the main chord ideas out. And then they would come in and lay the guitars and the real drums over it. Or they had someone else program drums.
And then what would you do for like a performance?
I never got to tour with them because of the whole like, we don't make a lot of money. We tour out of a fucking Sprinter van. It's like, you want to come live in a Sprinter van with us?
Right.
And it's like, I'm already fucking depressed and I hate my life as it is. And I fucking fly on airplanes and sleep in hotels. And it's like, that shit to me is like fucking depressing. I mean, you know what? Touring out of a Sprinter van might not be depressing because you're with your friends.
Yeah. I mean, there's a romance to it.
For sure.
Like I could, if I was doing that at like age, 21, I'm sure that would be the best time of my life. But
for sure.
If I was trying to do that as I am now, no way, man.
Yeah. So it's just like, I don't know. I want to go back. I want to do like a tour one of these days with like maybe just me, a drummer, and a bass player, and then we'll do the rest of the shit on tracks. That way it's still like, if there's 3 of us, I feel like you could still make it a profitable like thing,
Oh, for sure, man.
It's like once you get to 5 or 6 plus the tour manager, that's when I feel like it's like, fuck, it's like, you're gonna be in the red.
Yeah, pretty much, man. You have to be making like
you gotta be making a little bit to like.
I think you have to be making a lot to make more than a couple people on the road.
Oh yeah.
Like
I was gonna say, like you gotta be making like a little bit personally, like just enough to like just enough to keep the lights on. You can't be in the red doing this shit. It's just like,
you could even do like a one-off kind of tour. Like for a special project, if you drop a new EP or an album, like do like a 3-week tour, a month tour where it's like you and the drummer and all that, and just do it as a special like one-off thing, like it wouldn't have to be the project forever.
Yeah. Just like a special little. Carmack did that.
That's right.
He did that. He does it like with a live band, which is sick.
Yeah, man.
I remember he was posting some shit like people were heckling me in the front, telling me to play like bangers and dubstep or something like that, like, and he's up there playing like jazz with the fucking like live band. They're like, play dubstep or something. So funny. Some of these kids are too much.
Oh, dude. I mean,
so funny though.
Yeah. Well, there's this classic thing of like fans wanting their artists to just be one thing, right?
Yeah.
Which I get in a way, right? Because
I do get it.
Like I think about like the band thing. Like I'm wearing an Offspring shirt and we were talking about it earlier. And for me, like the Offspring, the Smash album, like that's the Offspring I'm always going to want. And then they went on and they've made a bunch of albums after that are good albums. But for me, I'm always just like, nah, I just want the one, I feel you. And so I get like how people can feel that way. But then from the artist side, it's a ridiculous thing because of course it's like, nah, I did that already.
I did that, yeah.
Why would I just keep doing the same thing?
For sure.
I don't know.
It's crazy, and as a kid, yeah, being an artist and a fan of these bands, you feel the same way. You're like, just give me this fucking album, and then when kids say that to you, you're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like this, like,
it's a weird cycle.
yeah,
man.
it's a weird cycle. You're like, I want this from them, but don't ask that of me.
Right. I mean, yeah. Carmack, I don't know Carmack, but he does strike me as like just one of the least fucks given kind of
That's
people.
Carmack 100,000% of the time of any. And that's what I feel like makes him such a like special, cool dude. You know, it's like literally no fucks given.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you see Carmack on the internet, you know him in real life. He's 100% the same fucking human, you know?
Right.
And it's like...
And he's just one of those guys where it's just pure creativity.
Pure creativity, pure fucking just like genius energy. Like,
yeah,
I love being around that dude. He's fucking... And he's a fucking fun dude to just be around, you know? Like, I love hanging out with him.
That's important too,
He
man.
always makes it fucking... It's always a good time with him, you know? Every time we like talk, FaceTime, fucking hang out in real life, go party, it's always like... I've never been around him and it's been a bad time. It's always like, he's like just a fun fucking human, you know? It's like, I'm not that way. And that's why I like being around... I like being around like fun, happy, like people like that. It's like... It makes my life fun. Yeah. Because when people hang out with me, they're probably like, damn, that was the most depressing, fucked up thing I've ever done in my life. Like, I'm never hanging out with Christian again. He's a fucking...
So how'd the band thing evolve? Like going throughout high school, were you already looking at music as like something you wanted to do as a career?
Yep. And then, so I went from that. I went from doing band shit to like pretty much just going straight into like doing all the stuff for Kanye.
So how did that like...
Yeah, so I was just a runner at the studio out in Hawaii, and I was literally like cleaning fucking toilets and grabbing groceries and shit like that. And then so then that's what Kanye had me do for him. And
so this is like what, like 2008, 2009?
Yeah, 2000. Yep. And then that's when I started working for Kanye, like 2008. And then,
So what, he just showed up at the studio because he was working in
just showed
Hawaii
up one day.
a ton at that time,
I was
right?
just like, I was literally just like in the right place at the right time. And he just showed up. I still remember the first thing he fucking told me. He had this sick fucking like Louis Vuitton duffel bag, this green camouflage on. And he just looked at me. He was like, take my fucking bag. And I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, fuck yeah, give me your bag.
You were just stoked.
I was stoked to me. Well, because like, you know how you know that movie, The Secret, or that show, The Secret?
Yeah,
where they're like, you fucking materialize your thoughts into fucking reality, you know?
Right.
It's so fucked because I did that with Kanye.
Really?
Dude, my whole like, it's so weird because I've always just played in punk bands and shit, but like, I always listen to Kanye. That's like one of the only things I would listen to though.
Like specifically
like rock shit and Kanye.
Wow.
Like as in high school, like I liked all the Kanye shit, and then and then Graduation came out, and then like that was like to me is like the best album for people who are thinking like, I want to be a hustler and I want to make it in the world. Like, listen to Graduation. That whole album is like so inspiring for that shit, because that all the shit Kanye says, you know, it's like ignorant as fuck, but it's like if you say it to yourself about yourself, it kind of like makes you like feel like, fuck, I can take over the world.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
And I mean, there's like there's no one who's more famous for like ego and believing in themselves than Kanye,
dude,
right?
and I just watched that whole shit on like Letterman. He had that thing.
I just watched that too.
Dude, it was pretty crazy. He went off the rails for sure.
A little bit.
The whole fucking dude, the Me Too shit. I was like, bro, come on.
Yeah.
Like women were fucking getting raped, bro, and you're over here like, men were scared. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
no,
that was kind of crazy.
That was a bummer.
That was a bummer. I was like,
bummer.
Bro, come on, man. Like, how fucking out of touch are you right now?
Well, all of his like weird sort of alt-right leaning things, like, you know, people I think have it twisted a little bit because they're like, oh, Kanye is like a conservative Republican. I'm like, no, he's not a conservative Republican. To me, it's just like he doesn't like being told what to do. He's very anti like group think and anti-establishment. And I just feel like these weird views and these like shitty views he's putting out there, it's just a reaction to other people telling him
what to believe in.
Right.
I also think it has a lot to do with fucking Obama.
What do you mean?
When Obama was like, Kanye's a jackass.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I feel like he's so anti-Obama that it's not even that he wants to like Trump. He just wants anything going against Obama.
Yeah,
I feel, you know what I mean?
You're probably right.
It's one of those things. It's like, it's not that he doesn't like the ideas that Trump does, you know what I mean? Or like he's against it or whatever, or like for it. But it's like, it's all anti-Obama. And that's what I feel like he is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, like once the president like kind of fucking denounces you and kind of like fucking kind of embarrasses you in front of the country.
Yeah.
I mean, I would feel the same way, you know? Like,
sure, I get it.
I get it.
And
but
there's like a certain level of celebrity too, right? Where, and this is not just Kanye, like this is like any crazy celebrity where you're like, they're so weird. Why are they saying that? You get to a certain level, like everyone around you is just encouraging you, agreeing with you, right? Like enabling you. And there's you just naturally get disconnected from reality at a certain point, right?
Yep, for sure.
Like you're just in your own little world because you're rich, you can do whatever you want, everybody loves what you do. I don't know. It must be. I mean,
it's crazy because like he wasn't always like that though.
Yeah,
you know, like when I was with him, he was like he was really cool and really chill. Well, my whole point before I brought up the whole shit on the Letterman thing was like Kanye talked about like believing in himself, and that was the whole like thing I was getting at about graduation. It was like if you believe in yourself and shit, like that's so powerful. You know, it's like you've done it. You've beat out the 99% because like you have to believe in yourself, you know?
It's true. And I think for me, important to remind myself that it's also, that's like a constant process. Like I'm always like renewing or trying to renew my belief in myself, you know? Because I feel that so many people, I think especially if you're younger, you're insecure about something about yourself, there is that thing of just like, oh, one day I'll get to this point where I'll be confident. It's like, well, there might be a day where you feel like that, but you have to maintain it, right? It's a constant process. Like it's, you know, you get to a point where you just sort of find a peace with these things and work with these things about yourself. I don't even know where I'm going with this. So he hands you the bag. He says, take my fucking bag.
Yeah. So that's how it also got started. And I started as a runner for him.
So basically just like, hey, I need this, go to the store.
Need this, go grab this, clean the fucking toilets, whatever, you know? So I did that. And then like it slowly evolved. He always liked my t-shirts I wore. So like he would have me like, it was so crazy. He would always like have me just email him pictures of all my clothes all the time.
That's so funny.
Because that's when he was doing this brand called Pastel. He was like starting this company, and like this is before he did Yeezy. And so we were just like, I was just helping him build like concept ideas for like clothes and shirts and shit. So like that was my original like thing with Kanye. So I was like scrubbing his toilets and helping him with like clothes and shit. And then it slowly turned into like, oh shit, you can run the computers for Pro Tools and shit. So like, do that.
Right, just naturally.
Since you're here, like fucking do it.
As long as you're here. How did you know how to do that? Had you already? I guess you said you were already.
I know. I kind of like learned as I went. Like, yeah, they're kind of like, can you run Pro Tools? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, nope. You know, like I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. You know, but like. I forced myself to just sit there and fucking figure it out, you know?
Did you fuck anything up like in front of them?
I mean, I don't remember, but I'm sure I did, you know? But like, the thing about that is like, when you're friends with people like that, once you've known them for a little bit, you can fuck up, you know? It's like, I don't know about anymore in front of Kanye. I don't think anyone's allowed to fuck up like
probably
Pro Tools in front of him. But yeah, like me and him were like friends, and I wasn't the only engineer, you know? There was like fucking 2 or 3 of his main dudes there. Right. So like I would just be there like helping him when it was just like me and him. Because a lot of the times it was just like me and Kanye. Like everyone else would be like doing other shit, you know, like especially like early in the mornings, like if he was up at like 9 and he would just call me like, oh, come to the studio, let's go get like Jamba Juice and fucking work on some shit. So like we'd go get, it would just be like literally me and Kanye, and we'd just go get Jamba Juice and go to the studio and fucking, he just wanted to like listen to ideas and like maybe like record some shit. So that's like was my main thing, was like I wasn't like the main engineer, I was just there with him like when no one else was.
Right,
you know?
right.
Yeah.
And it seems like maybe he took a liking to you.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like I was just like, we just got along really well.
Do you have are there any memories that stand out? I just like,
fuck yeah. There's like one,
What is
the
it?
craziest shit like ever.
Okay.
So like one time there was like a porn star there.
Okay.
And they knew that I'm not really like too like outgoing and crazy and shit. And they had the porn star they told the porn star to fuck with me when I didn't know.
You're right.
So they had me leave the studio, and then I came back and the porn star was fucking naked. And she was naked in the studio, and I was like, what the fuck? And then they're like, and she looked at me, she was like, you stole my phone.
Oh God.
And I was like, what the fuck? And like literally it's like a room full of like all the biggest producers in the world, you know?
Right.
Like all just standing there just like kind of giggling. And then she like walks up to me and she's like naked and she's like, I said you have my phone. And I was like, fuck. I was like, I don't have your fucking phone.
That is
She's
so
like,
weird.
let me look for my phone. I was like, no. And I left and I like ran away.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I would have done that same thing.
It was crazy. Yeah, that was my first interaction with a porn star. And then it was fucking depressing though. Like later that day, I saw her like on the like our studio's out on the water.
Yeah.
So we have a boat dock.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah. And she was out on the boat dock, sitting on a chair, like crying.
Ooh, that's
And I was like, dude, and that was my first like time ever realizing like how fucked like the porn industry can be. You know, it's like she probably has so many like fucked up things in her head that was going on, you know? It's like,
I mean, you never know, man. It's like, yeah, the porn industry, I think there's plenty of like well-adjusted people who want to be there, but then, yeah, it's one of those that I look at it the same as the music industry. If you go into it and you already have problems, it's only going to get worse. Like no one's going to take care of you, you know?
yeah.
Like I think about that. I've seen that happen in the music world 100 times where somebody will come in and they'll have, you know, whatever, an emotional issue or a mental health issue. Like if there's like chinks in the armor, man, the industry will just break those. You know? Like it gets inside every time. I talk about like anxiety a lot, and I'm so much more of an anxious person now than I was when I started doing this as a profession. Like, do you feel the same way? Like,
not really. I don't really deal with anxiety too much.
Well, not with anxiety, but whatever your issues are, like, does the industry make it worse?
Oh, like amplify it?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel a lot more depressed nowadays than I did before.
Damn.
You know? And
how do you deal with it? Have you found ways to...
I mean, it's the same way I've dealt with it my whole life. You know, you kind of just it's just like Dory. You know, you just keep swimming.
Yeah, fair enough.
You kind of like...
one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, depression never goes away. Sometimes it takes the back burner.
Right.
Sometimes it takes the front burner, you know? Like, for me,
You said, like, you're not into the idea of therapy. Like, have you tried
I've done that shit, you know? They send you to the psychologist, and they send you to this, and they send you to that, and you take Zoloft, and you do all this shit, you know? It's like, I don't know, none of that shit helped me. But for some people, it helps them.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
So it's like, fuck. To each their own. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so then I just did that. I did that for Ye until he got married to Kim.
So that's like a period of years.
That was 5 years I spent with Ye.
5 years.
Yeah, we
man.
pretty much like lived together. We like lived together for like basically like 5 years, you know? And I'm not gonna lie, that was like the best 5 years of my life.
Man, I can only imagine.
It was just so interesting, and like I literally met every single person you could have ever like imagine.
Right.
Like I got to work with Beyonce. I helped out on Beyonce's album, you know, and got to hang out with Beyonce and Jay-Z, and I got to hang out with Drake, you know, and like work on Drake shit. And it was like all these art, you know, like fucking Elton John. I got to like hang out with Elton John and work with him. And like every day was like that, you know, like every day was like working with like really smart, really creative people, and like all day, every day. And then
Must have been so...
it was incredible. You know, I met Hudmo them. Hudmo and Lunis, they came through.
Right.
Because they used to work for Ye. That's how I
Right.
met them. I still remember the first time they showed up. Those two fucking assholes. They're standing in front of the studio, and they're like, yo, we got to go grab these two kids out there. And I was like, all right. So I went outside. I was like, who are these two dumbasses? They're just doing something dumb. And I was like, who the fuck are these kids? Dude, and it's crazy. And then I found out like who they were. And I was just like, oh shit, they're actually like, they're fucking dope. You know? Like Hudmo is basically like a genius.
Oh,
like
yeah.
a demented
Incredible.
genius. You know,
Yeah,
he's like
yeah.
fucked in the head, but
A
just
little
a genius.
bit.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
like, he's that dude, you know, he's so smart, and he's really like, he loves music.
Right.
Like more than everyone else.
That's, yeah, you
I'm
can
gonna
really
say
tell.
that. Like Hudmo loves music, period.
Yeah, and you can really, it comes across, and I don't know him almost at all. I've played a show with him once, like just a DJ gig, and he wasn't like the nicest guy to hang out with.
For sure.
But you could tell just like watching him play music and like hanging out through that night, like he just loved what he was doing. He was so excited about the music. You know what I mean?
For sure. Like he's yeah. I remember my one like memory I have of like Hudmo and shit is like so we were working on Cruel Summer and shit, and like I forgot what song it was on the album, and dude, like the fucking album is out. Cruel Summer's out.
Yeah.
And he's still there mixing a song. Like at that point I knew like, first of all, you're a fucking psycho.
Right.
Second of all, you love this shit more than everybody else does. Who the fuck would mix this for their own like
Just enjoyment. Yeah.
Like continue to mix this record after it's like out on the shelves. Like,
but I mean, that's almost predicting what Kanye would go on to do. Like you look at the last album where he kept changing it on Spotify while it was even out. You know what I mean?
Okay, so maybe that's what Hudmo was doing.
I feel like that maybe
not though, because that was back.
I mean, I don't think they were doing it back then, but I don't know. Maybe Kanye saw him doing it. Maybe it gave him an idea. Like
I do that shit all the time.
Really?
Change my masters.
Really?
People fucking, or not people, just the distribution company and my manager.
Like even
and
after it
fucking
comes out,
Spotify.
you'll change it?
Yeah. I think Spotify hates me, and my distribution company and my manager, they fucking hate me. I'll be like listening to it, I'll be like, nope, gotta change this. And I'll do that like 4 or 5 times.
Oh man.
And yeah.
I mean, hey man, it's whatever. I mean, I guess so. That's you too, right? Like, why do you do that? Is it just because you can't let it go?
You hear something and you're like, I need to fix this shit.
Yeah, because you know it'll just bother you.
It bothers
it's like
me.
That.
Yeah.
Huh. So let's talk about, you go through the Kanye years, and at a certain point, you were not only engineering, but like doing some production for some of these projects too, right?
Yeah. Yep.
How did that start happening?
Yeah, me and just like I didn't know how to make beats. It was actually Kanye's mentor, the guy who taught Kanye how to make beats, taught me how to make beats.
I know.
No ID, Dion.
No ID, right? Yeah,
Dion. Yeah. So one day it was just me and Dion in the studio, and he was like, "Do you make beats?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Well, you should start. You're like hanging out with us, bitch." I'm just like, "Fuck, all right." So he gave me all this crack software.
Yes.
He gave me like all this crack shit, and it was like, "All right, I'm gonna teach you how to like make some beats." So like he taught me how to make beats in this one thing called Machine.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I used in the beginning.
Is dope though.
It's cool.
Yeah.
So like how I learned. I learned how to make beats on Machine in like Logic from Dion.
Wow.
And now it's so crazy. Like he's the president of fucking Def Jam.
Right. Mo,
like,
I mean,
how the fuck? Like that was my
he's
boy.
An influential, like very influential person. That's a gift, man, to have somebody just sit you down like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because we were always together, So it was like one of those things where it's like, I'd be fucking doing him favors all day, like helping him, like, he asked me to help him with shit, I help him with whatever,
Sure.
So.
And I guess, then that increases your value too, right? If this is another part of your skill set, if you're just in the studio with someone.
We were pretty much like a fucking family, There was like maybe like 13 to 20 of us that just like lived together for like 5 years, It was like mostly just the engineers and the producers and Kanye.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh.
And he had like this one maid at the time.
Okay, there you go.
And she like did everything for us. She like cooked for us and all this shit.
Did you know a buddy of mine from Chicago who worked with him a lot, Mano?
Yeah, $1 Million Mano.
$1 Million Mano, yeah.
Yeah, he came around towards the tail end of me working with Kanye.
Okay.
Like he was because he was Kanye's DJ and shit.
Right. He was DJing for Kanye. I think he was maybe doing a little production here and there.
He was doing a little bit of production.
Yeah.
Until he did the Weekend record.
Exactly.
Now he's fucking.
Oh man.
He must have made so much money off that.
Oh yeah. Well, because he did a couple. He did the Hills, and then he did another one of the Weeknd's big records that I'm forgetting. And he's done shit for
Yeah, bro. You did Hills. You're good forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that record was the biggest song of the year. You know, like anytime someone has like song of the year, you're fed forever. You're paid forever.
No, it's true.
You know,
man.
it's like your quarterly checks is fucking stupid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just remember there was one time where we were both in Chicago at the time, and that's how I knew him. And he told me like he left for a weekend and then he came right back and he was like, man, fucking sucked. Like Kanye, I got the call, like put up the bat signal, you got to come to Hawaii right now. And so he like got on the next flight to Hawaii, just like ran to the airport.
Yep.
And from Chicago to Hawaii, it's like 11, 12-hour flight.
Nine and a half.
Really?
I fly it a lot.
I feel like that's like an 11-hour flight because I used to do that flight, but I trust you.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a long flight, one way or another. And he told me, he was like, yeah, like I got on the flight, I just made it. And then he's like, I turned my phone off, we took off, I landed, and when he landed, he got texted like, oh no, sorry, Kanye turned around and left. You can fly home now. And he literally didn't even leave the airport. He just flew back to Chicago.
Whoa. That's very Kanye. Kanye would do shit like that.
Yeah.
Like coming to Hawaii, like I'd get a text like coming to Hawaii. And then it would be like, we'd be in the studio, like me and the engineers set everything up all, to make sure everything's like right.
Yeah.
And then it'd be like, just kidding. Like, fuck. Okay, cool.
Great. Thanks, man.
Those were fun days too, because then those were days like me and the engineers would like fuck around and we'd do our own shit and, like,
yeah.
So it was always fun. It was like, and that's why I feel like those 5 years of my life are like the most interesting, like funnest years. Because it was like,
dude.
Anytime you're around like creative people like that, it's always so sick.
Oh, dude. And at the elite level that those people are, I can only imagine what a learning experience. Because like I talk to a lot of producers and like hear a lot of stories on this show of, how people started off. But to start making beats in that kind of environment where you're learning from like the most inspirational, interesting, like being around that energy, I can only imagine like, if that's what shapes how you learn to make beats, like that's an experience like nothing else, man.
Yeah, I hope Kanye does that shit again. I don't think he works like that anymore. He's very, it's very minimal nowadays.
Yeah, and it seems like it's more kind of like in and out, like he just brings people in and kind of like rotates them in and out. Yeah,
that's
my perception at least.
I know the main engineer, Noah, left for probably fucking God knows why.
Who knows, man?
Dude, it's so crazy.
Well, it's a pressure cooker environment, right?
It's like Kanye used to go through a lot of engineers all the time, and it's like, because it's a 24-hour job.
Yeah.
It's literally whenever he needs you, you have to be there, like standing by, ready to go.
You're on call like a doctor, yeah.
Exactly, like all day, all night. And it's long hours, and it's like, and I'm sure Kanye like demands perfection, out of the engineers.
Yeah, of course, man.
But yeah, I know there's another kid with him now. I know they got like their headquarters in LA. They have like a little warehouse there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, man. I mean, fuck, I hope he's doing all right, man. It's,
I don't know, man. After that Letterman interview.
Well, and all the like crazy, the shit he said on TMZ and like...
The slavery was a choice shit. Yeah. That shit was fucking crazy.
Yeah, all that kind of shit, man. It's just...
Fuck.
Raises some red flags,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was... Like I said, he was never that bad.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not here to like... I don't like trying to do the gossip thing about like trying to figure out what his motivations are and his mental health. Like, I don't fucking know. I don't know what his life is. I just hope he's doing all right because he's made so much music and art that I love.
Yeah, for sure.
And, he's such an influential figure. Like this would be a good time to have like Kanye in peak form, you know? Like the world is kind of fucked right now.
Like Kanye back when Kanye was more like Kanye.
Bush doesn't care about black people, Kanye, you know?
Now it's Kanye doesn't care about black people, Kanye.
Yeah, kind of. But I want to talk more about you, man. So how does the transition happen to electronic music? Because if you're in this like hip hop specific world.
It was hip hop specific, but we don't listen to hip hop shit. You know, like Kanye we would listen to like Passion Pit and like MGMT, and obviously we had Bon Iver, we had Justin working with us a lot.
Right.
Which like introduced us to all of us to like a lot of indie music, you know, like a lot of that type of shit. And like Justice would help out on stuff too. And like I don't think they ever like placed anything with Ye, but like they would be working on shit.
Yeah.
So like that was like kind of like my thing into electronic music was like, yeah, we would listen to like Skrillex and shit. It's so crazy. Like, yes, I remember. Yeah, like
that's
Kanye liked Skrillex.
Okay, that's so interesting.
Yeah, he, we were making dubstep for a little bit. You know, like none of those records came out or anything, but Kanye was really like influenced by Skrillex at one point.
Wow.
You know, he liked that shit.
Wow, just the fact that a Kanye dubstep demo exists somewhere is amazing.
Yeah, it was with me.
Dude,
we did a lot of records together.
That's so crazy.
We just like worked on a lot of cool ideas.
How did that end? Like, was it just him?
It was just
left
they
Hawaii,
left. Yeah,
basically?
he went to Paris. I went with them once to go visit, and that was it. I kind of like
it just kind of tapered off.
Yeah, and then it kind of like I think the team kind of like fell apart after that.
Yeah,
because no one's from Paris.
Right.
Everyone has families. Everyone has shit to take care of at home, and it's like, how long can you live in Paris? You know what I mean? Living in Hawaii is one thing. It's a 5-hour flight from LA, where everyone probably lives. I think everyone lives in LA. So it's like, it's another thing to be in Paris, where you're like, you're like 15 hours away.
Oh yeah, dude, away from I mean, you have to give up everything.
And you're on a completely different time schedule now.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you're 2 or 3 hours off. You're like fucking a day behind or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
that's rough.
Yeah,
man.
so after that, it was when I started producing, and we've been doing the Graves thing since then.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's get into it a little bit of how that evolved for you. Like, as you saw this sort of tapering off and realizing that maybe a new phase of your life was going to happen.
I mean, I didn't know. I had no idea. It was just it just happened. You know, I was making beats, and then it kind of like just evolved into like, okay, we can do like more electronic stuff, and it just kind of like turned into that.
Well, when did you step out on your own and start, outside?
Maybe like 3 years ago.
Okay.
3-4 years ago. Yeah.
How did it happen? You were in like a group for a second, right? Before it was Graves.
Yeah, I was just helping one of my friends out. It was actually not my like project.
Okay, gotcha.
It was like, I was kind of like the ghost producer on the project, but then he like, so I was like I was his ghost producer. So I did a lot of ghost production shit, I guess, in between then, or like between that and the Graves thing. I was like mostly like just ghost producing,
right?
Like trying to make money and shit. So yeah, I was kind of like this one dude's ghost producer, and then he wanted to use my name on it so that he could say that we got the dude from the Kanye shit on there. So
I don't know about that.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I didn't give a fuck though at the time. I was like, fuck it, do it. You know, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not paying for shit. Like, do it. You know, like.
Were you thinking at that point that you wanted it to be more focused on you? Like, I'm curious.
It was never about me. It was more about the music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's. I never feel like anything is ever dictated around me personally. Like, I just look at it as like the brand or the art or the music, you know? So it's like, but I wanted something that was more reflective, definitely of myself.
Yeah.
So that's when I started the Graves project.
That's all I'm saying. It's like, it is, whether it's about, it doesn't have to be about like the spotlights on you as a person, but like it is your
more
project,
ideas. Yeah.
You know?
Your ideas, your concepts and shit. And it was like, so that's why I did it. Yeah, it's been good,
Yeah, man. I mean, from the start, I think it seemed like it came out almost fully formed. You know what I mean? Like the aesthetic of it. And obviously you are already a great producer, Even the way you work. Like I remember around the time you did Came Up with Flosstradamus.
Yeah.
So Kurt's like an old friend of mine.
Okay.
And I was hanging in the studio with him around that time. And he showed me the session file for
and he was
that.
like, fuck, this session's too much.
Dude, well, and both of us were just like, what is happening in this session?
It's a lot going on. I'm glad I like kind of like minimized the way I work.
Did you? Because what I was going to say is like, I was blown away because I like that song a lot. And I was like, oh yeah, I want to see like how he made this. And Kurt was showing me some of the sections you did. And it was like 10 different layers of like synth chords. And like,
I'm so glad I don't do that type of shit. Like I keep it super simple nowadays, and I
Really?
like it better now. Well, I mean, for a lot of reasons. Main one, like musically, it's better.
Yeah.
Keep shit simpler.
Sure.
And then second is sonics. The more elements you're adding in there, especially like layering with chords and saws and fucking shit like that, is you're dealing with phase issues now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something I'm super like conscious about nowadays is phase, stereo. You know, like I try to have everything work in perfect mono, inspired by fucking no other than Skrillex. You know, like he has the best sounding records in my opinion. Like
100%.
no one else's records are 100% compatible in mono other than Sonny's. You know, like his mix downs are perfect.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get much argument there, man.
Yeah, his mix downs are always perfect. You know, like him and Zomboy.
Yeah, Zomboy is I just had Zomboy on the show and I was talking to him about that, man. It's like when you're the producer, when all the other elite producers are like comparing their shit to you.
Yep.
It's a very elite tier, man. There's only a couple.
He's the best, you know, Zomboy and Sonny. They're both like perfect mix downs.
It's ridiculous.
Hardly anyone do I ever see and I'm like, oh, this is a perfect mix down, but usually Sonny.
Yeah, I would maybe put the only other one I would off the top of my head is like Kill the Noise, I think is right up there.
Yeah, Jake's really good too.
Yeah, his shit is crazy.
His shit is really good.
That new one he just did, the Slipknot remix, did you hear that?
It's really clean.
Yeah,
he had a really good mix master on that one.
Yeah. All of that is to say, man, it's been cool to watch the progression of the Graves project from that point. And I was just, so you just put out earlier this year, the Far From Here EP, right? Have you always, it's all independent, right? Like
always, yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Is
say
it your own label?
No, it's,
Okay.
We do the distro. It's like not even a label. It's like mostly just distribution through this company called Alpha Pup. They do like,
I know them.
yeah, they do like, what's his name? He's huge. Flying Lotus.
Right.
They do like Carmack and shit.
Yeah, it's just like direct to consumer.
Exactly.
Basically.
It's like real, like we're independent and we do this. You know, it's like that's the kind of shit they do.
Was that a decision you made early on? Like, or were you ever trying to like court a label to work with?
We're always down to work with labels as long as it like makes sense, like, and they don't want to change anything.
Yeah.
We're always down for that. But like, as soon as people start trying to change things or like the release dates get kind of like a little goofy, we're just like, fuck her out.
Yeah.
Like, it's an easy decision for us to be like, fuck her out. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I've done independent shit my whole life. So it's not like we ever like depended on anyone to do anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just been me and my fucking manager, you know? Like,
just keep it simple.
Yeah, we just hammer it out.
I mean, I think that's cool that you sort of came out of the gates like not even trying to play that game, you know?
I mean, I like when people do that though. Like I look at like a lot of my friends like have like reaped a lot of benefits from that shit. You know, like Boombox Cartel,
Yeah.
like their deal with like Mad Decent and shit, and like a lot of people, you know, like Ikali with Ozla, you know, like those are two of my friends, and they've both been elevated by their label
It's
deals.
true,
You know what
man.
I mean? And they fucking really help. You know, they provide money, they provide a lot of like a lot of resources, they provide like a lot of other shit, you know, that you can't do on your own when it's
Yeah.
just me and my manager. You know what I mean? Like there's literally like a team now, like working for you behind your project. So.
Oh, 100%, man. I mean, is that something you wished you had?
It's not something I don't ever wish for shit, you know what I mean? But it's like, shit, that makes things a lot fucking easier. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, true.
I like doing shit the way, for me, like, I don't look at shit like that. I just look at shit at like, let's just keep going, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I just like creating.
Yeah.
And
not
I don't ever
worrying
look
about
back.
the
Exactly.
future
Like,
too
I don't,
much.
yeah, fuck that.
That's a good way to be, man, because we can't control that, right?
You can't control that shit, you know? Just do whatever's like, you know, you look at like Carmack.
Yeah.
Carmack is not out there thinking about any of this type of shit, you know?
That's
Like,
true.
And he is like the best.
It's
you know,
true,
like
man.
he's so sick, and it's like I love that. You know, that's just like real punk rock shit. You know,
Yeah.
you go out there and you just fucking create.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, on the other hand, you mentioned Boombox earlier, who are also good buddies of mine. And back in the day, this is actually how I started hearing about you, was we used to be under the same management. And
That's right. He was trying to manage me as well.
Exactly.
What the fuck was his name?
Conrad.
Conrad.
Yeah.
Conrad. You sick
baby.
fuck. Where the fuck?
Shout
He's
out
in
to
like
Conrad.
he's like in Thailand or something, right? I heard some crazy shit about him.
He did. So he left the industry for like a year. He's back now. He's my manager again.
Conrad is back.
Dude, he's back. He's doing a bunch of people now. Like,
my
he's
God.
like back stronger than ever.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to that dude in so long. Like,
Boombox and I were with him around the same time he was talking to you.
Yeah.
And I love the Boombox guys, and to watch them go from where they were then to where they are now, definitely the label deal was a part of it, but they're the kind of, like, it's funny, we're talking about like, oh, don't think about the future, you can't control it. But I think especially Americo from Boombox.
oh yeah. He controls his future.
I was going to say, he's always like,
he is in control.
When I knew him years ago, he was planning the future. You know what I mean?
And that's why they're so successful. So don't listen to me.
Well, right, exactly. I mean, what the fuck do we know? But it's whatever works for the individual. But
for sure,
it is very cool to see how far they've come as well. Dude, and turned it into this.
It's funny that you brought that up. No one's in control of their future except for America.
Right, except he's the exception.
He is like Nostradamus.
Yeah, straight
like
up,
he's
man.
predicting his future because he's fucking planning it all out.
Well,
right
yeah,
now.
and he's very particular, right?
He's very particular.
Like, yeah, there's advantages and disadvantages to being like that, I think.
There are.
Yeah. But I mean, shout out to him. I love him. He's the best. But yeah,
he's one of him and Jorge are like,
oh man,
some of my best friends, but separate.
Dude, yeah,
since
right.
I don't ever see them together.
Right,
but,
exactly.
yeah.
I mean, shout out to Jorge too, man. I love you. I hope you come back eventually.
He will.
Yeah, I hope so. But man, and I remember Conrad like sending me a bunch of your music, and he was like, yeah, I'm talking to this guy, like, music is awesome. He's like, he doesn't want to leave Hawaii though. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
no. They still couldn't get me to leave. No one will ever get me to leave Hawaii. That's not a thing.
Well, at a certain point, at least like early on, it sounded like you didn't even want to tour that much at the start.
No, I was down to tour.
Okay.
But touring isn't my number one thing, Like, I like playing, like I said, I like playing the shows, but I like being at home writing.
That makes sense, man. I mean, strong roots at home. I mean, you have a family too, right? Like, you have a child.
Yeah.
It would be tough to be away that much.
It is. But yeah. It all works out.
Well, that's good,
Somehow.
man. Well, it seems like you found a balance with it. And the new EP, to me, was like the best encapsulation of everything we've been talking about, because you can hear, like you were talking about, you want to take like a band out on tour. Like, I could hear those songs on that EP being played by a band.
Yeah, tight.
It's interesting because it seems very deliberate, but there's this like, how do I want to say this? This like controlled chaos, or this like intentional sloppiness to some of it. Like it's rough around the edges to me, but like intentionally, if that makes sense.
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little like, it's kind of like the inspiration for this shit was kind of like grunge music. Like how grunge music is like kind of like dirty and gross and not really fucking perfect, but it was like kind of like what gave it its character. Like in the early 90s was like grunge shit, It was like, you heard all those like, especially like demo shit. Like, I love like hearing demos from like rock bands and shit.
Me too, man.
It's such a weird thing. And it's like weird because I'm like, I love super polished productions as well, like pop productions and like big rock productions like of Mice and Men and like those types of bands. Like, I love that type of like really refined production, but I also love like rock demos.
Oh, I love it, dude.
It's so weird. Like, I just love everything in between. Like, I just love rock music.
Well, me too. And I mean, some of my all-time favorite music is punk music that sounds terrible, was recorded in an awful way, mixed terribly. That's still some of my favorite music of all time. So it's really like you can convey whatever you want to say in so many different ways, right? I think once you get to a certain level as a producer, you realize that, okay, if I mix a record a certain way, this is the vibe it'll give off versus if, so say like if your EP came out and everything was like crystal clean, would it still have that edge, that attitude of the grunge thing you're talking about?
Probably.
Maybe.
Probably just me not mixing as good as I should.
Well, sure. I mean, either way, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's interesting when you start thinking about that the mix is almost like another instrument or another like
it is
way to write,
Yeah.
Like where are you with it now? You said you like simplified your process a lot.
Yeah, I simplified a lot of stuff. Yeah, I got a lot better at using the fucking EQ as well. It's more than that. It's just like training your ears. You know just as well as me. It's like that kind of shit just takes time. It's like it's not shit that you're like you can hear off the jump. It's like shit you hear after you've been mixing for 20,000 hours of your life, and then you're like, oh shit, this has too much 2.5. This is too much like 6 kilohertz in it. It's like. And I've just been developing my ear for like mixing a lot more in the last like 6 months.
Do you feel like you learned the right way to do things, if you know what
Definitely
I mean?
not. I don't feel like anyone ever learns the right way though, because there is no fucking right way.
That's also true.
But I wish I did learn in the beginning to like just pick better elements instead of like try to mix shitty elements. Probably just replace it with good sounding shit.
Sure.
That way you're not dealing with fucking all these like frequency problems later,
Yeah, that's that old metaphor of like, you can't make a good stew without good ingredients.
For sure.
Like if you start off with something that sounds bad, the whole rest of the time is just going to be
it's an uphill battle
trying to fix it, right?
Yeah, so now that's another thing I've been like really focusing on, like making sure I'm picking the proper samples to like, making sure everything's in key.
Yeah.
Like another thing I've learned recently is from this like pretty big rock producers, like make sure your kicks are in like proper time, like lengthwise.
Oh, sure.
Like I didn't realize how important of that is to like the groove of the song, like make sure your kicks are like cut, like they're not dragging too long, make sure it's on a fucking like
like the actual sample, like how long is the kick sample
yeah, exactly
itself?
Like make sure the kick sample is like like first of all in tune with your song, and then that the length
right
of all your hits, like all the hits and shit, like all the little things like that. He was showing me like to put a gate on everything. He's like, gate all your shit and then find the milliseconds of what's like a quarter note or eighth note or whatever, or 16th note, and like use all that shit for the gate.
Yeah.
That way all your shit is like rhythmically like makes more sense. And I'm like, fuck, that's really smart.
Brilliant, man.
He's a really good, like he does like all the Story So Far albums.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I love, that's like my favorite band right now. So yeah, I recently just been talking to that producer, just like picking his mind on some shit. He's like really smart.
I feel like that's getting like the rock info and like the rock knowledge. That's a key, man. I feel like that's a way you can stand out too, because nobody is talking to those dudes from our world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like rock music is going to make like a big comeback soon, just because it's like
it's about time, right?
Rock's been dead for so long, and it's like you look at culture, like not even counterculture, just regular culture is fucking kids with black fingernails, kids with spiked belts, fucking every color hair of the rainbow, It's like that was like punk culture, It's like it's all living through the like rap community right now, but like it's just like anything, like how the EDM shit was so fucking like in the front before, and then it went back to the rap shit. It's eventually gonna go to something else.
Yeah, 100%.
Hopefully some rock music.
I
think it's gonna go to like punk shit, like really aggressive, fucking crazy shit.
I think you're probably right, man. It'll be interesting. I mean, you look at like even take like Skrillex, the new songs he's producing for his rock band, where like the sonic quality is so phenomenal now, and they hit so hard. I could even see that kind of like a hybrid thing where it's just like you have a producer behind the band so that it can hit just as hard as like these rap songs are hitting. Yeah. But it's just a different context. And it's interesting hearing you talk about like sample choice and, keeping things simple. One person I think who does that really well, who you have worked with a bunch, is RL Grime. He to me is always like the king of just finding the one perfect sound or sample and just, putting it in the perfect arrangement. Like his productions, even though they are big and epic a lot of the time, to me, it never feels like there's any wasted elements. How did you meet him? How did you start working with him?
We've been like cooking up for the last few years, probably like 2-3 years. We just were like talking on the internet and shit, and it was just like, yo, come cook up in LA. And I was like, fuck it. I just bought a plane ticket and fucking showed up and was like, let's fucking cook.
All right.
Yeah, man. It was sick. We fucking did Rames that day.
Oh, there you go.
Rames.
First day
out. We just did that shit, and that shit was sick.
So you guys just kind of had an instant connection.
Yeah. We always do. Like, I don't feel like I work with anyone as well as I do with Henry. Like, every time we're together, it's always like, fuck, got this. And it's just like, whenever we bounce shit off each other, it's always like, fucking, this is sick. It's like, I feel like it's because we have a similar, like, we like similar shit. Like, he definitely likes way more, like, cooler shit than me, you know? Like, he's into, like, cigarettes and explosions in the sky and, like, all that fucking hipster art shit. Like, that's Henry all day. Like, he loves that fucking shit. And it's like, I love all that shit, too. But it's like, for me, like, my main love is punk and pop punk and, like, fucking hardcore music and shit. So, but
it seems like your guys' styles, like, mesh together really well.
For sure. It's just, like, dark fucking, like, we used to always call our shit like gothic dance music.
That's good.
It's kind of like what it is. It's like gothic dance music, or like, he calls his shit like gothic dance music.
Yeah.
I call my shit like grungy dance music.
Yeah, I could see that, man.
Goth and grunge. There you go.
That's kind of perfect. I mean, they do sort of go together.
They do kind of go together.
Yeah.
Yeah, not many people do I work with where I'm like, fuck, let's just keep working. But Henry is definitely one of them, you know? It's like, let's just keep fucking working. We write so many different, we write like rock records together. We write like rap beats, and we do like the EDM type shit, you know? Like, we do all kind of shit. We're working on some shit too that's like, we didn't start working on. I've been just like kind of cooking up just like some shit for like some stuff I want to do with him where it's like Prodigy inspired.
Yeah, fuck
yeah. We do shit like that. I have like this idea of doing like Prodigy inspired shit and like just doing it fucking crazy.
Dude,
like think of Prodigy in 2019. Dude, you know what I mean? And
I'll play you some shit in a minute once we stop recording here, because there's a couple people who are kind of on that wave right now.
Okay.
I'll play it for you.
Sick.
They're making some really dope shit. Shout out to Hellbound and
that's my boy.
Yeah, Hellbound's dope. There's another guy, Revel, and who's the other one? Magma. I hope I got that right.
Magma must be pretty hot, huh? Like hot like lava.
What else is like? What are you doing right now that you're stoked on? The EP's out. You did the tour. Like, what's coming up next for you?
Just festivals all summer, fall. You know, I think I can't talk about it right now, but I have a really sick fucking it's like a co-headlining tour with another artist this fall, and it's gonna be fucking tight.
That's great, man.
Similar like aesthetic and vibe, different type of music, but similar aesthetic, and it's like it's gonna be a fucking sick ass like dark twisted show.
That's great, man. Yeah. Do you have like aspirations or ideas for like building up Graves, the headlining show, as far as like stage production
wise?
all
Yeah,
that?
Of course, man. I mean, I feel like I got this. Another thing I've like picked up from tonight, you know, Hudmo and Lunas. Like, I love their like stage production. It was so simple.
It was so good.
It was just fucking these lighting bars with these like floodlights and shit, and it was like so simple. But I want to do something with that same effect, but just like updated.
Yeah.
And do something like kind of different, a little more intricate, but it's something super simple. You know, and that's what I love about like Ye's shit.
Right.
Kanye shit's always like very simple but powerful and effective. You know,
Absolutely.
It's like that's what I want to do. You know.
And if you want to talk about stage production, I mean, what is more iconic than his fucking tours? Like,
dude, it's very memorable, you know? All of his tours are so memorable, you know? And like, I want to do that when I have the budget.
Yeah,
like, dude, we have no budget for shit like that.
Of course
I'll just have a bunch of fucking, I should just hire a bunch of like people from like Craigslist and just have them hold flashlights on stage.
That could be sick, honestly.
That'd be fucking crazy.
Yeah, man.
But then I'd have to bring them out to every show.
That's the problem. You could just hire locals, but then of course you gotta like train them.
Like, everyone just turn on your lights right now.
Just point at them.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember it was the Flostradamus, like Josh and Kurt were the ones who really changed the way I thought about live show production, because when they were still together as a duo, and when they were at like the height of Flosstradamus like mania.
Oh, they're fucking huge.
Well, yeah, man, and their shows, they had all the, like, they saw all the LED walls and shit and went totally the other direction, and they're like, no, we want like physical objects on stage, you know? So they showed up with like the chain link fence and half of a fucking Honda Accord, like literally on stage. Like,
that's so tight.
They brought a car and they had, you know, like fucking floodlights that they could move around like you were in a warehouse. It was so dope. And I love things like that, man. Like, I really hope people bring it back to that, just like minimal, like a couple elements on a stage.
Yeah.
And because I don't know about you, but I'm pretty over the like LED wall thing.
It's a little exhausting. It's
like,
exhausting.
Yeah,
it's
like
pretty played out.
It still looks cool.
It's just
but
effective. Like, it's effective for festival shit. You know, it's like, because you can't bring out your rig,
right?
Your live show rig. So it's like, it's the most effective thing that people have right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Until the next thing comes, you know?
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
My favorite like live show production that I've seen in the last couple of years has probably been Peeps. The last tour he did before he died.
I wish I wanted to go and I didn't make it, and I'm so...
Dude, it was so sick. It was like, the stage was his bedroom, and he had the LED wall, but it was his window out into the world and shit, and it was like behind bars.
Oh man,
it was so sick though, because it's like just that concept of like, you're literally like in his world. This is where he is, you know. He's in his room, and like, you know, it's like, and like as a teenager, you know, like that's where you spend all your time. That's where all your thoughts like come together, and that's where you're just like, you know, you feel the most is just like in your bedroom playing your guitar or listening to music or whatever the fuck it was.
And his music is so perfect for that too.
Yeah,
like,
it was so tight.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, man. I thought that was like the sickest like concept though. Like,
no, that's amazing.
I'm gonna bring the bedroom to you, like my bedroom,
right?
And it was like whatever posters he had in his room and the bed, and that's so sick.
That's
though.
So meta.
He was he's genius.
No,
like,
he really was.
I
a genius.
love Peep. Like Peep is like my favorite current like artist in the last few years.
Me too.
Peep.
Me
like,
too.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I talk about him a lot on this show, man. He's fucking phenomenal. Did you ever meet him?
I've never gotten the opportunity to.
I never did either.
I know.
I was talking to Diplo and he was like, yeah, you know, I'm sitting on, like, we worked on music together before he died. I was like, fuck, man. And then he was like, yeah, of course, I'd never put it out. I was like, well, can I hear it? I was like, God damn. Anything from him, man, I'll take it.
Right? Same. It's like, I love all his records, you know? Like, so sad.
It's so sad.
And his shit just kept on the thing about Peep is his shit was always good, but it kept getting better.
Yeah, that's
like his songwriting was getting really fucking good.
Yeah.
And he was just only getting better. Each song he wrote was getting like better and better, and his melodies were so good and iconic and
so much potential.
So, dude, he would be so huge, you know?
He'd
like,
be a superstar.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no
he was
way.
like, and he had like, he lived the lifestyle, and he just looked the part, you know, like this good looking, like tatted up, fucking crazy looking dude. But like, you know, it's like he lived that shit, you know, and it was so like honest. And that's what I feel like everyone liked about it. It was like, it was him.
Yeah, it was authentic.
In its purest form, you know?
Absolutely, man. And to be honest, I feel like that's, to bring it back to you, like, I think it's a true reflection of your own self, like the Graves project, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's why people can connect with it as much as they are. You know, it seems like it's you.
Yeah,
like,
it's just, I mean, yeah, everything is inspired by that, you know? Like, inspired by artists just being true to themselves, just, you know, just being who the fuck they are, you know?
Well, this has been great, man. Is there anything else anything else you want to get out there?
No.
Anything else on your mind?
Fuck no. Nothing.
I'll wrap it up by asking the same question I asked at the end of each episode. Just off the top of your head, you don't have to think about it too hard. Just looking for a time in your life, just a moment when, like, in a single moment, and this could be recently or this could be from when you're a kid, anytime, in a single moment, music really deeply affected you. And that could be like stopped you in your tracks. It could be just like a song you heard on the radio. Just like the first thing that pops into your head.
Definitely Michael Jackson, you know, being a kid, hearing Michael Jackson for the first time, I'm just like, fuck.
Dude,
know, that's when I was like, I love music. You know what I mean? Like that point, I was probably like 5 or 6 maybe.
Yeah.
But like at that point, like when I listened to the Michael Jackson album, I think it was like the Dangerous album or some shit. When that shit, like, and my mom had the CD and I put it in, I was like, holy fuck, I love music. You know, it's like from that point on, it was like I knew, like, I just loved it. You know,
There was
like,
no going back.
Yeah, from that point.
Dude,
definitely.
we do have a similar background because
Yeah.
that's literally my exact answer to that question.
Yeah, Michael Jackson, you know.
The
and
Dangerous album in particular, like...
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, because that's when we were like little kids, and that's
Exactly.
what we heard.
Exactly.
And then you go back on his discography, and you're just like, holy fuck! Like everything is good from when he was in the Jackson 5, you know, from
Right.
when he was fucking like 10 years old to like,
Yeah.
you know, all the way to the end. Like he put out great fucking such good music, you know.
It was like a switch in my brain got flipped.
I think that
Yeah.
it's got to be a lot of people.
I
Can't
mean,
just be
yeah,
us.
that's certainly. A lot of people liked Michael Jackson, but it is true, man. It's that era. I still point to that as like that's the first time I can really, because you're developing as a human too,
Yeah.
right? That's the first time I can remember being like, no, this is mine. Like this is something
Yeah.
I'm into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the artwork was so weird and fucking. It was just weird. It was his eyes with the fucking.
Yeah. There was like a weird.
It was like going through like a maze, like all the Illuminati shit.
Yeah. There was like little detailed things.
Yeah, and I remember looking at it and it like captivated me as a kid. I didn't know shit about anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't. 6 years old, you don't know what the fuck the actually 6-year-olds nowadays do know what the Illuminati is. They know about all this shit and they know about everything because they have the fucking internet. But yeah, it's like crazy. Back then, like no one knew about that shit. So we looked at that. I remember looking at that, just being like intrigued by it. Like, holy fuck, what the fuck is this? You know,
Yeah.
like I remember just staring at that album cover for like hours, like every day, just like looking at it and like going through all the pages of the book and knowing all the words to the songs and fucking every little detail of that like little booklet.
Me too. Yeah. No, I remember I got the CD, exact same thing, reading all the words, looking at the credits, even though I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
All of that kind of.
So crazy.
Yeah. I just couldn't get enough, man. And fuck, I mean, I guess we still can.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Yeah. Michael Jackson is like GOAT forever.
Yeah. 100%, man. Whatever his like personal legacy may be, like that music changed my life.
Yeah.
And I can't say that about a lot. Yeah.
But yeah, that's mine. MJ.
Fuck it, man. I love it. Well, thanks for doing this, man. I'm
No,
glad
thanks
we
for
finally
having me.
connected.
Thanks, dude. Bye.
Bye. All right, that's the show. Shout out to Graves. So good to talk to you. For everybody out there listening, don't forget, Graves just dropped a new 2-song EP for Dead Song and Transmissions. That's out right now on Welcome Records. I'm going to drop a link in the description of this episode where you can go get all of the new music, all of the tour dates. He's always flying around. So definitely go connect with Graves. My name is Willy Joy. You can always connect with me too, backtobackpod@gmail.com, or you can hit me on all social media at Willy Joy or at backtobackpod. That's it for this week. I hope everybody out there is staying cool. This heat wave is no joke. I went outside for like 5 minutes to walk to the grocery store earlier today and basically wanted to die. So stay cool, take care of yourself, stay hydrated, and whatever you do, whatever your goals are for this week, I hope you accomplish them. You're strong, you're awesome, you can do it, and that's it. For Back to Back, I'll talk to you next week. This is Willy Joy. Peace.